By the time the credits start rolling in Ryan Coogler's latest film, Sinners, you'd be forgiven for thinking that this movie appears to have a pretty strong anti-Christian message. But what's the movie really trying to say about organized religion and, more importantly, faith? Major spoiler warning ahead. Before discussing the film's religious themes, we need to first understand the key plot points of the story. The film follows two twin brothers, Smoke and Stack, as they return to their old town to open a juke joint. They recruit the help of their cousin Sammy, who appears to have an incredible talent for music, and the twins spend the day organizing a huge opening night. And when the night comes, everything seems to be going along perfectly, until three strangers turn up at the door asking to be invited in. They turn out to be vampires, drawn to the juke by the sound of Sammy's otherworldly music. Eventually, the vampires are able to kill and convert the majority of the partygoers, creating a huge swarm of the living dead, all with the intention of taking Sammy as one of their own, as his music has the power to summon spirits from the past and the future. Stack is killed and returns as one of the evil vampires, while Smoke protects Sammy before eventually dying in a shootout with the KKK the following morning, who had always originally planned to kill the two brothers from the beginning of the film. Sammy returns to the church where his father, the pastor, asks him to renounce his love for music and embrace God. The credits roll. At this point, looking over the film, on a first reading, it does seem like the movie may have an anti-Christian message. Throughout the film, Christian belief appears at times to be a largely ineffective force against the vampires, while pagan spirituality seems to be affirmed. One could read this as the film suggesting that, in comparison to pagan beliefs, Christian faith has no credence, no practical value, which does feel dismissive towards those who do believe. This sentiment appears to be reinforced when, at the end of the night, Sammy is surrounded by the vampires and he begins to recite the Lord's Prayer. The vampires all begin to recite the prayer as well, with the leader claiming that the prayer also brings him comfort. One could interpret this as yet again suggesting that Christian belief and faith has no value when confronting an evil force in the world, with the vampires themselves appearing to reinforce this through their adoption of the prayer. And then with the final scene, it's implied by the pastor that Sammy's talent for music is somehow in direct opposition to how he should be as a Christian. This is clearly representative of how parts of organized religion has at times attempted to dictate, stifle, and suppress people for things like enjoying music or other creative pursuits. The final scene in the church appears to draw attention to this, and one could read Sammy's refusal to let go of the guitar as representative of a direct refusal of Christian faith, something of which the film seems to celebrate as a brave act. But then, something bizarre occurs. The credits begin to roll, and what appears to be a cutscene transforms into an extended epilogue with important ramifications for what I believe the film is truly trying to explore. We see Sammy as an old man, years into the future, making a life for himself as a famous musician. He's told by someone that two fans are willing to pay big money to see him, and he invites them in. As established throughout the film, the vampires can only come into a room if you invite them in. We see Stack and his lover enter the room, two vampires who haven't aged a day. Stack reveals that instead of Smoke killing him with a stake as the audience was previously led to believe, Smoke made him promise to watch over Sammy and offer him the chance for immortality at the right time. Sammy refuses their offer, saying that he's seen enough on this earth, and he tells Stack that before the vampires attacked everyone on that fateful day of the juke joint, it was the best day of his life. He asks Stack if he feels the same. Stack surprisingly agrees, reflecting on his final moments being able to see the sun and being able to see his brother. The vampires leave Sammy and they part on good terms, and for a moment we see a brief flashback of a younger Sammy, before everything, playing the gospel song "This Little Light of Mine" in the church. For me, this epilogue turned the film on its head. I believe that the whole movie is depicting a battle of faith. There's faith in power, and power only, as we see through Smoke. There's faith in eternal non-existence, the destruction of self, through the vampires and their shared sentience as one eternal being. And there's faith in God, or more simply, faith itself explored through Sammy. In simple terms, I think you can view the vampires as almost representative of atheism, of there truly being nothing after death, because for them, there is no death. There is only immortality. Importantly, in this closing scene, Sammy rejects the offer of that, choosing his faith in something else instead. The final shot of him as a young man playing guitar in the church further reinforces his choice as one based within a spiritual framework, one that is potentially linked to Christian faith. To revisit my previous points within this context, Christianity isn't actually as ineffective as you may originally think in the film if you look a little bit deeper. While it doesn't play a large effective role in combating the vampires, holy water is mentioned and proven as a deterrent against the vampires, while a powerful Native American vampire hunter references God as a protective force. In regards to the Lord's Prayer scene I discussed earlier, literally a few seconds later after the vampires mock the prayer, the sun rises and they're burnt to a crisp, arguably demonstrating the power of the prayer and of faith in God. Through a symbolic lens, the faith that Sammy had in the prayer is able to vanquish the vampires, which represent doubt and cynicism in Christian faith, albeit temporarily. But when faced with the choice once again in the epilogue, Sammy again refuses their offer. Throughout the film, the vampires need an invitation to come inside, and I find this representative of the battle that one can have within their own faith, choosing to allow doubts and cynicism to enter your mind, or choosing to have faith in the goodness of what you believe in. The movie opens with Sammy's father, the pastor, saying that you keep dancing with the devil and one day it's gonna follow you home. And the film exists of proof of that. Whether you're a religious person or not, if you choose to engage in too much of alcohol, drugs, maybe even partying, etc., we can all agree that it has a negative effect on a person and on society. Not always, but when it's taken too far, it does. The movie doesn't shy away from that message and instead looks at those ideas through an empathetic lens, which is really important. To conclude, overall, I think the film appears more critical of organized religion rather than spirituality itself. There is still room for Christian belief within the type of spirituality that the film is a proponent of, but just maybe not in the conventional way that we've come to expect. And I think that's okay. Maybe I am reading this wrong, and maybe Coogler does have some kind of anti-Christian, anti-religious message that he wants to portray. As a Christian myself who feels most closely aligned in values with the Uniting Church in Australia, I don't want to believe that's true. And more importantly, I don't think that's true. I did truly want to enjoy this movie, and maybe that does make me biased. Maybe I was looking for a more positive reading from this that aligns with my beliefs that wasn't there. But I do choose to believe that Sinners offers a positive reflection on the power of faith itself, and that is something that aligns closely with my sense of spirituality as a Christian. The movie explores that faith is a powerful thing, but it is also a conscious choice that anyone can choose to make. But regardless, I believe that Coogler proves himself here as a tremendously talented director, in that he's able to present these ideas in an ambiguous and thought-provoking way, and leave it up to us as the audience to come to the conclusions for ourselves. This is a movie that will spark conversation, spark intellectual thought and debate, and that is what a truly great film should do. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing or dropping a like. It would really mean a lot to me, and this is my first time trying a video essay style of video. I would love to hear your thoughts on Sinners down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Cinema is back, baby. Let's go.